What's going on, y'all? This is Danny, and I want to give my 2 cents here on this story. I think the story was from yesterday or earlier this morning. I believe it was earlier this morning about some behind the scenes changes going on in Star Wars. And I want to give my thoughts on it. Now, I found this on Twitter from an account called End Wokeness. Now, I don't know who this person is, but it popped up on my feed and I thought I would talk about it. So there's some behind the scenes changes going on here with Star Wars, and I have opinions. So it says here Disney hands over the 67 billion Star Wars franchise to a Pakistani feminist activist, Obaid Chinoy, on the new film she will be directing for the franchise. Now, this is the lady who's supposed to be directing the Rey movie. But the thing about this post is that it they make it seem with that first sentence that this woman, because I had thought that this woman was taking over Kathleen Kennedy's job, because it says Disney hands over the 67 billion stars. So you know what I'm saying? Like, if you read it like that, it feels like that's what they were saying, but that's not what's going on at all. This is the director of the upcoming Rey movie. Now, we already know there was going to be politics and things like that, you know, in the film, and obviously I've told you guys before that I try to stray away from doing anything political on the channel. However, in this instance, because the politics have seeped into nerd culture now more than ever before. I mean, there was always a little bit of it, but now it's gotten crazy, especially with people fighting back and forth. We kind of have to talk about it. So I want to play this video for you guys about what she says and then give my thoughts. Okay, so it's about 30 seconds and I'll give my thoughts on this because I'm a little confused about this, and we'll get to it here in just a moment.
Also the first woman and the first person of color to direct a Star Wars film. It's set to be released in 2026. You can say that the force is strong with this one. Here's Charmin Obaid-Chinoy.
Okay, I just want to say something real quick. This is not her. This is the person introducing her. Obviously, Kathleen Kennedy, Disney, you know, they obviously care about these things. Like, you know, it's the first woman, the first person of color. I mean, they're kind of trying to, like, you know, put their stamp on history. But and while I understand them doing that, right, everybody kind of gets it. The question is, does that matter at the end of the day if the movie sucks? What I mean by that is the focus of this upcoming Rey movie, which I think is gonna not do so well, but I could be wrong, is the story. Is the story going to do well? The problems with the sequel trilogy, even though people really point the finger at the politics, that wasn't really the issue. The issue was that it had no story. The story was a mess. When you make these movies, in my opinion, when you have movies that are focused too much on the political side, it tends to hurt the film story. It should be all about, is this going to be a good story? Let's keep going here.
You know, I'm very thrilled about the project because I think what we are about to create is something very special. And we're in 2024 now. And I think it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away.
Okay, so let's just be real here, guys. You know, she seems like a nice person. Obviously, I don't know her. You know, she seems like a decent person. She doesn't really come off snooty and snobby like some of these Disney actors have done in the past. So, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Like people like Rian Johnson, or even like Brie Larson. Like they've come off really like snobby. She seems decent, but I'm confused about this because she's saying that it's about time that we have a woman shape a story in a galaxy far, far away. But you've had that since the Disney purchase because Kathleen Kennedy has been in charge. Now, she might be discussing more so like the deeper, like directing and writing and those kinds of things. Because Kathleen Kennedy doesn't really write or direct. That's not her job, right? She hires people to write or direct. It's just weird because it just feels, once again, it feels like Disney's primary focus is on inclusion, is on, you know, I don't want to say wokeness, even though I'm sure people will say that, but it's on, you know, personal politics as opposed to telling a good story. And to me, I'll be honest, bro, none of this matters. I don't care if the director's white, black, Asian, Hispanic, purple, orange, from Pluto. I don't give a shit what color or gender the director is. I've never cared. And if you really care about those things, I don't think it's that important, y'all. I don't think it's that important. I think that that's not an important thing. I feel like the important thing is, can this person direct a good movie? And here's the thing. This movie has a lot of bad faith going into it. Because of how much of a mess the sequel trilogy was, a lot of people don't like the character of Rey. Hell, I don't like the character of Rey. She was written very poorly in the sequel trilogy, so you're already going into a story with a character that's not very well liked. And let's not forget that Disney, and specifically Marvel, have been flopping all year. Let's not forget that Ahsoka, which I thought was a good show, did not get the views they were hoping for on Disney+. I think that we're in an era now where I can feel something changing here. I can feel the tide changing, and I feel like, especially with the success of Godzilla Minus One, which I've talked about nonstop here, it just feels like people want story. And if this director, Obaid Chinoy, if she can come up with a good story, good for her. Like I said, I don't care if she's from Pakistan. I don't care if she's from Mexico. Those things don't matter to me, right? I'm just being real. They don't. Is the movie going to be good? If I spend my money on this, am I going to get my money's worth? That's what matters, you know. But I just feel like, I think it would have been better if she worded it differently. If she said, maybe if she elaborated more, like, you know, this is I'm writing a story based on the perspective of a woman. She's still gonna get shit from people. Like, you're not gonna be able to avoid controversy whenever you bring up like your gender or, you know, your sexual preference. Whenever you throw that into a movie, dude, in the promotion, you're gonna get shit for it. You're just going to. There's a lot of people don't like that. And that's because, once again, Disney focuses more on inclusion than they do telling good stories. That's the problem here. And I'm giving you a very nuanced opinion, guys. I know there's a lot of you guys that hate wokeness. I am not a huge fan of wokeness either when it comes to it being shoved in my face over and over again. I believe that human beings have a right to vote. I don't care what your gender is. I've got friends that are, you know, trans. I've got gay friends. I don't like, and they're just my friends. Like, I don't like look at them as being any different from anybody else, because I don't care who they're fucking. Like, I don't care who you're sleeping with. You know, as long as it's not like an underage kid or an animal, it doesn't matter to me, right? And I think most of you guys, I would hope that my audience here on this channel is kind of like that too. Where some of you guys hate wokeness and you're in the battle for wokeness. Some of you guys are more mildly annoyed. I fall into the mildly annoyed category. Now, if I go see this movie, listen to what I'm saying. If I go see this fucking movie and it ends up being like Ghostbusters 2016, where it's just man-hating stuff, you know, doing these sort of annoying, like focusing more on the politics side, making men look dumb and women look smart and things like that, you know, I'm not going to be a fan. Like I said, this director has no idea. I don't think she has any idea of what she's getting herself into. You understand what I'm saying? But she's supposed to be an activist, you know, and so because of that, she might already know what she's getting into, but she's going to do it anyway. So I predict that this Rey movie, there's no trailer yet. There's no information yet on the story, but based on this, I'm going to predict early that this movie's not going to do that well. I don't know if it'll flop like the Marvels, but it just won't do that well. This thing gives me bad vibes. It's not because I'm quote-unquote anti-woke. It's not about, you know, like me hating women or no, like I'm sure most people that don't like wokeness don't hate women. In fact, there's women that hate wokeness. It's more so just the priorities. The priority should be good storytelling, good visuals, giving us a great memory instead of, hey, I'm a woman, look what I can do. Okay, show us what you can do and give us a good fucking movie. Those are my thoughts. Take care.